I believe that's enough arguing. We must hear the defense's rebuttal. Mr. Wright, I believe you may now address the prosecution's statement. Now, without any further ado...
Hold up. There's been a development. I need to talk to the defense. Something's come up.
Detective, you've interrupted us. Is it important? Can you not tell it to the court?
No. What I have is between me and him. Yes, it's a private matter. And yes, it's relevant. It's important that we talk about it right now.
If it's so urgent, you can just tell us now. I was about to finish this case.
Yeah? Well, it can wait for 5 minutes. Chill, alright? Your Honor, Wright and I'll just slip into the lobby for a moment. We'll be back before you know it.
You seem nervous. If it's about the case, then yes, we will go into recess. Everybody be back in here as soon as possible.
What's wrong with Waters? He stopped the trial just to talk to me? It must be serious. I'm worried what it might be. Of course I stopped it right before to be continued. What's wrong, Waters? Why do you need me? I've got something for you. Here, a present from Gumshoe. They pulled that thing apart and dug up all its files. They recorded the murder. There was a whole conversation and everything. Oh, you got it. This will definitely be useful. Thank you. Right. Shows she was killed over Jameson's bottle thing. Check the recording on there and you'll see what I mean. You don't seem happy about it. Because right now, Boss is spewing a load of hooey. Why the heck do you think I pulled you aside by yourself? What do you mean? Because that little thing proves her killer was there at Jameson's murder. He was there to get her bottle, and she died keeping it hidden. Williamson is on my side. He said he'd help me. We shouldn't hide this from him. Dude, you saw him in there, right? Pulling out that crap about different killers, he just made that up. He almost let himself go off the deep end. I mean, if you hadn't been there, I won't let him screw this up for some kind of revenge. You're the one I'm coming to. Do you get it? Boss is wrong. Mendez didn't do it. This was all worth it. It won't be if you let Mr. Williamson get his way. He's gonna chase this guy till the crows come home, and you know it. Help me, will you? Mendez didn't stab Gladys. Whoever did killed Jameson, and Black too from the sound of it. If Mendez didn't, then who's left? Ms. Von Comra and I have been looking over those notes you made. What did you find? Not a whole lot. Some of it was pretty vague. We knew most of it already. She's in the other lobby, I think. The whole thing was really last minute. You can verify everything Trucy heard? I guess most of it. We do have reason to think Tomigaran never pulled the trigger on the kid. Are you sure on that? Sure. No. Chief said he doesn't remember him entering the records room. But there's always the chance that he snuck in somehow. Though there were parts in that diary you could never really prove either way. We'd let you know if we'd found anything really important, you know? Well, thanks. Oh yeah, one last thing. Yes? You've got one more piece of evidence coming your way. Had it brought in especially for you. Okay, let's see it. I'll let her hand it to you herself. She came all the way here to do it. See? Me. Maya. You're here. Oh, did you find it? Find it? Find what? I brought a letter somebody sent me before the reunion. It was about her. I think it was from the Revalis. About Pearl? Yes. The writer made threats about me and her. I don't know why, but they really didn't want her returning. That was why Karain happened. That was why everything happened. Well, the good news is that I don't have to believe this is from The good news is that I don't believe this is from Mendez.
You don't?
He was home free after MN6. Why would he care if anybody found Pearl? Remember yesterday when we spoke to him? He couldn't have cared less if we proved he murdered Luciano.
They might not buy it in the trial, but it works for me. Who else would send it?
That's the question we ought to be asking. Who? And why? So, how are you dealing with what happened?
It's too early to tell. I didn't want to come back. I wish I could just close my eyes and make it all go away. But that wouldn't change anything. It would just make it worse. She's in danger. She still is. Maybe now more than ever. Josie thinks we can find whoever sent me that letter. Well, it's a long shot.
Maybe not. Nothing will happen to Pearl. Nothing. And Maya, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. I did what I thought was right. I'd do it again if I had to. That doesn't make it hurt any less. I know I can never take away that pain. But I didn't have a choice. It was either that or... Who am I kidding? I wish I could go back and erase everything.
Nick, I don't blame you. And I know that she doesn't either. None of us do. We understand what you're going through. We're all sad, and we need to be there for each other. We'll work through it. I'm having trouble coming to terms myself, but there's nothing to be sorry for. Things might not ever be the same, but we'll figure it out and grow from it. Become better people. And we'll find a way to cope. Together.
What about Pearl?
I don't know. I don't even know if she even wants to speak to us ever again. But even if we never do, I know I still love her. And I'll do anything to protect her. And I know you would too. Let's solve this case, the three of us.
Thank you, you two. I'll make things right.
No, we'll make things right.
Hello? Mind if I butt in a tad? Ah, it's you. I saw it was getting all sentimental. Feel bad about crashing your party. Came by to pick up my child and thought I'd stop by. What do you need, Mr. Hood? Need? Oh, no, it's not what I need. Though I can understand why you'd feel that way. No, truth is, I'm here for you, son. I'm sure you are. You told me earlier that you trusted me, despite everything we went through. I'm here to put me trust in you.
Why would you trust us?
I might need to. This man who isn't the killer is still running amok. We can't get him. Me and Jane are as good as goners. You know who Jane saw? Wish I did, truly. But I only ever saw him through the shadows of the woods. It would need to be someone with a way to get at both Miss Porter and Black.
But that could be anyone.
Maybe. But I think you'll find that your options are really rather limited. How so? It would need to be someone with an invested interest in the Revaldes family. And somebody with a reason to go after Miss Porter. Prosecutor Williamson thinks it was one of Mendez's henchmen. Maybe. It might be so. Do you really think it? No, not really. Why not? Just a gut feeling. It doesn't seem right. Let me look at that bug. Well, we have the killer's voice. If you believe it, I'd chase that thought. Hold tight to it. I guess either you or the prosecutor's right in the end. 50-50? Yes, sir. But I'll throw in with you, if you don't mind. I can't help you anymore. You know as much as there is to know from me. So this is goodbye? I'd imagine so. Unless you've got some reason to have a look around me neck of the woods. You better head back in now. Can't waste too much time speaking to me. I'll get him. Oh, I know you will. I'd say I'm sorry for making a fool of you, but, well, that's not really me style. Well, if that defense attorney isn't actually Hood, then it might be him.
Is the defense ready?
We are, Your Honor.
What was it the detective wanted to tell you?
He gave me a note that was sent to Maya Fey. We think it might be from the Ravalis family.
Strange. What was that? Was that it?
All in due time, Your Honor.
You aren't going to tell them about the bug?
Not yet. Waters called me aside because he was nervous. Nervous about Williamson. I think this bug might be coming in handy sooner rather than later.
He gave you nothing else? If he did, then we should see it.
Prosecutor, do you trust me?
Yes, I suppose that I do.
Then just go with me on this. Your reasoning isn't incorrect, just incomplete. Let me show you why you were wrong.
Please do.
A henchman?
Why not? He is the Dawn. He shouldn't have to get his hands dirty. It would make much more sense to have an expendable lackey do the job. That way it would be harder to connect back to him.
If it was true, it would answer a lot of questions.
It shows how Menderes is connected to all three crimes without being the culprit in all of them. Allow me to explain his role in each.
There's no way to prove that.
I disagree. Under the circumstances, there is no way the suspect would not be aware of the murder. Yet he chose not to report anything for over a month. Given that and his connections to the Ravalis victims, the conclusion is obvious.
You're basing it all on supposition. There is no hard proof.
Menderes is a murderer. He's already escaped justice once. I will not allow it again.
You're letting your anger get the better of you. I understand why, but I won't let it stop me.
How can you see Menderes as anything but guilty? It's folly. The man murdered 4 people. It should be clear as day.
He may be a crime lord, but we still deserve the truth. If you want to prove me wrong,
you'll have to work for it.
the same hitman who killed Mr. Black?
Jane Hood's testimony proves such.
Well, who was it?
I am not sure. However, it is the only explanation.
No, it isn't. You're just too blinded by your hatred to see any otherwise.
Then give me another idea. We already know he killed Mr. Jameson.
No, we don't know that either.
There are no other suspects. There simply is no way it wasn't him.
I need an alternate theory, or at least one to make him change his mind. What might show Menderes didn't plan this? Well, that's where I present the bug. That's the only one you think he's guilty for.
Make no mistake, I still consider him guilty for all of them. Mr. Jameson was the only one he personally killed. However, he had some involvement with Mr. Black and Ms. Porter as well. And if not, if he only is responsible for Mr. Jameson, then he still goes to prison for a very long time. I hope I don't have to remind you of his prints on the shovel.
I remember.
Good. Then let's not argue over that which we should both agree. The defendant is a killer, plain and simple. His verdict must reflect that.
You still think they have to be linked, even with multiple killers?
It would be too much of a coincidence if not. The same murder weapon was used, along with the same burial site. And furthermore, it was the suspect's shovel that was used. Regardless of who killed whom, the same conclusion is clear. There is no way you will make me believe these murders were not planned by the same people.
Just yesterday, the prosecution was saying it was all the same person.
We will adapt our theories to the changing circumstances, as you must as well. The last witness showed we had multiple killers. That must leave the defendant as the mastermind to all of them.
Would he still be charged for the murders?
Mr. Jameson, certainly. For Mr. Black and Ms. Porter, the charge would be changed. He is an accomplice and accessory for each. No matter what, he is going away forever.
What about the capital sentence? Is that being dropped?
Not if I have anything to say about it.
You realize you have no physical evidence proving this henchman theory?
Yes, you are right. But as it stands, it is the most logical assumption. The three cases must be tied together. This is how we will do so.
You and me, Williamson. One of us is making a big mistake here. But I won't let my past get the better of me like I did before. I'm not your pawn anymore. It's just you, me, and the evidence. We'll see who the truth really lies with. Close, but no cigar. Ms. Porter was killed for a bottle that she was hiding in her office.
The MN6 vial? How would you know about that?
She was keeping it in her office. We had to find it ourselves. And Detective Waters just showed up with a recording proving the killer was after it.
Huh?
A recording? Of her murder? Well, we'll have to listen to that at once. Please play it for the court. Alright, whoever the killer was, they had access to the police department. They were able to get her out of protective custody. Probably a cough. Yes, that was certainly the victim's voice. But who is that other? Somebody after the bottle. They thought she might have it after her affiliation with Jameson was revealed. And that is why she died.
Objection.
This appears to prove my earlier theory. The suspect was found with a photo of the same bottle. Therefore, we know the reason he had his hitman kill her.
Jimmy and Porter were both killed for the bottle, but not like that.
How so?
Mendez had been in jail the past several days. The only contact he would have had with the outside world would have been through a visitor. That's the only way he could have communicated his orders to kill Miss Porter.
How should that matter?
Mendez wouldn't give orders in person. There's the notes. We've recently heard from several of Mendez's soldiers or allies. Raphael Donatello, Meredith Faye, Agent Togomera, they all said the same thing. Mendez doesn't talk business in person.
He wouldn't have had a choice being in detention. What other option was there?
Even I wasn't able to see him until the day of the trial. Security around this guy is tighter than ever. They wouldn't let some random mobster in. How did your secret henchman know about the bottle, prosecutor? Mendez only saw the photo recently, the night he was arrested. How did he know Ms. Porter might have it? How would he know any of this if he hadn't been in contact with Mendez?
He would have needed to be at the Rosencrantz murder.
That's right. This third party eavesdropped on Mendez and Jimmy while they talked about the vial. And then after Ms. Porter chased off the only other witness, the true killer stepped in. and beat him to death with the shovel.
That would mean that the same person really did kill all 3 people. If Menderes couldn't coordinate Ms. Porter's murder with anyone, and the only way to know about the MN6 file was to hear it from Mr. Jameson. Who was it? We can't let him get away!
It was James the Killer, your secret henchman. He killed Jimmy after Menderes ran away. Then he hunted down Ms. Porter in her office.
I believe you. I don't want to admit I've been chasing the wrong man, but what you say makes sense. Too much sense. And I may have let Mr. Jameson's killer get away.
Jimmy's killer isn't going to escape. He wanted us to have a chance. That's why he did what he did. Finding the true villain meant enough to him that he would sacrifice his own life. He knew that people were going to continue to die. Maybe even you.
What?
They threatened my life and yours after Ms. Porter was found. The photos with the red X's, there were 2, just for us. Jimmy knew things would go that route eventually.
A true friend to the last. What should we do?
We have to make the most of the chance he's given us.
But we have no suspects. We couldn't possibly arrest anyone for it.
We'll find him. You and me, Williamson. We'll work together, as defense and prosecution were meant to. And we'll find our killer.
Do you still believe he was after the vial from MN6?
Of course I do.
Then we must figure out his relation to the case. Is your client willing to testify?
We can ask him. Mr. Menderes, you understand the importance of MN6 to this current case?
Of course.
You told me you're innocent. If that's true, I need you to help me. We've reached the end of the road. It's all or nothing now. If you can't help us...
You're crazy, you know that? But it might be the right kind of crazy for the job. Which one then? Which murder shall I tell you all about?
Jimmy's. Mr. Jameson.
Fine then. Jameson called me up, said he wanted to talk. We arranged to meet in the woods, where nobody would bother us. When I came, he showed me that photo of the bottle, the one from Luciano's case. He had the real one somewhere, but wouldn't say where. Porter showed up, chased me off. The rest is history.
Wait. What did the photo mean to you?
What do you mean, what did it mean? It meant Jameson had the bottle.
The case was closed, but him having it was a threat.
Not to me. They found me not guilty, remember?
Maybe not to you, but somebody killed him and Ms. Porter for it.
Why would anybody but him want them all dead? Give me a break, Williamson. Jameson and Porter were messing around with the Mafia. Porter's sister was shot for that very thing. They knew what they were getting into. But I didn't have anything to do with it. Got it?
Then why try to silence anybody?
Silence anybody? What the heck are you talking about?
You ordered the hit on Maya. You were going to kill Pearl. I'm not letting any of that go.
I didn't do anything like that.
Liar! Your own henchman ratted you out.
You think I don't know that? It seems a ridiculous thing to lie about, considering. Why make it up? Unless I'm not lying.
I still can't bring myself to trust this guy. How am I supposed to take his word for that? Of course he'd lie. So will I find something to show he's full of it? Or end up proving that he's telling the truth? Did you remember him from the MN6 trial?
Of course I did. The man didn't know how to let it go. I would never go to prison for Luciano anyway. So, it didn't matter to me.
Would it bother anyone else if you were caught talking to him?
It might. Nobody in the family liked Jameson. Nobody likes their business getting pried into. And we have plenty of skeletons to dig up, believe me.
Oh, I believe you on that. Do I believe the rest of it? That's the question. Why would you agree to meet him?
I thought we could work something out. Maybe even get him on my side.
Would that ever be possible?
Chances didn't look good, but I knew we'd both benefit more by working together. Mr. Jameson would never work with you. Looks like I knew him better than you. He was the one who brought up the idea of a negotiation. You're lying!
Don't let him get to you. I might believe him on this one.
You trust him?
Why else would Jimmy want to meet with him? Was it just to show off that bottle? Just to tease or threaten him? He had to have some clear goal of being there. Making a deal sounds like it would work.
But what kind of deal? Let me get around to it. It was about that bottle.
Why did he let you know he had it? Was it blackmail? Anything like that?
Blackmail? Psh, it was just the opposite. He said he was gonna help me and that bottle was the key to it. Enough! Mr. Jameson would never side with you. He was an honest man and this court will not buy your lies. You're the one to talk about lies, Williamson. Leading everyone around by the nose. It's a wonder anyone still takes you seriously. Right! Mr. Jameson trusted you. Do not believe a word coming from the suspect's mouth.
Jimmy trusted you too, prosecutor. Why don't we let the evidence decide, rather than holding the trial based on a grudge? That's what Jimmy would have wanted.
You're right. He would have. But I don't believe for 1 second he would have worked with that man.
Mendorez making this all up? If he is, I can expose that lie. But if he isn't... The real one was back in Ms. Porter's office.
Right, I guess. But there was no way of me knowing that then. Jameson wasn't stupid. He wasn't gonna give up the location just like that.
Did he tell you he would if you cooperated?
Me? Why would he do that? I didn't need the bottle. He could keep it. Maybe better that way. No, I was going to help him, no matter what. Why on earth would you help him? I've been having troubles of my own. The family isn't responding as well as I'd like. I thought Jameson might be the answer to my prayers. I was just as surprised as anyone. Too bad for both of us that all got interrupted.
Well, she said that he ran off first. Porter's autopsy. Confession, footprints. Well, I guess the footprints could be there. Why did you run?
I heard her scream and made a break for it. I thought they might be out for me. Can you really blame me? Who did you think was out for you? Anyone, alright? Look, I've made enemies on my way to the top. A lot of enemies. There are people who hate me that I'd rather not meet at night in the woods. And heck, that Jameson might have been with them.
The Ravalis family? Are you that afraid of your own group?
Yes!
Here, here.
Something you can relate with? Is that all?
Yes. Why?
I'm not entirely convinced, that's all.
Me either. You're leaving too much out. What's it going to take? You two have had it in for me since the beginning.
I'm keeping an open mind, but you have to help me. There are still holes everywhere. Too much is unexplained. Why would he need to meet you? How are you going to help? Or, for that matter, how is he going to help you? I think it's clear you're still holding something back. What is it?
I didn't do any of it. That's all you have to say? You went through all of that just for this? That's why we're here, isn't it? Me not killing anyone is the only statement that matters. Why would I want to help Jameson if he was a threat? He was a threat. That's why you murdered him. Yeah? Well, why would I even meet with him in the first place? To kill him. It wasn't me. It was someone else.
Somebody besides Melendez who would want to kill Jimmy. And he denies everything that's happened. But who else could it be? Who gave the order to shoot Maya? We've only ever heard his name. Unless that was the point. I think I can prove it. Your Honor, the defendant is pleading innocent. It's brief and to the point, but I'd like it added to the testimony. He's right. It's the most central part of the case. I'll address that now.
Indeed. Witness, please amend your statement.
Now's the moment of truth. Everything's going to come out. If not you, then who?
I don't know.
That doesn't help much. Any guesses?
Whoever killed Jameson is framing me. I know that.
You've mentioned enemies within the Rivales family. Would it be one of them?
Makes just as much sense as anything.
Mendez denies doing anything I've blamed him for. Is it possible he's actually telling the truth?
I guess this is it, right? That moment where you decide whether or not you trust your client. He's saying innocent, but I don't know if you should believe him. Remember that he tried to shoot me.
He says he didn't.
Is that good enough for you, Nick? You'd say the same thing in his place.
I probably would. There should be something to prove it either way. We don't know the truth. We don't know if we can trust him. So we'll have to let the facts speak for themselves.
That sounds good. He's a dirtbag anyway. Let's not put too much faith in him.
You were given a note, and it's bothered me ever since seeing it. But now that I know who you really are, it bothers me in a whole new way. Why would a letter addressed from you, with your seal, be sent to you?
That's one from my safe? I got it after I talked to Jameson about meeting him.
It's not the first time I've seen a note signed like this. Meredith Fay received another one, threatening her and Pearl. Maya got several others, but you say you never sent anything of the sort.
And you believe him?
I do, in fact. There is another person posing as Francisco Mendez.
Order! Mr. Wright, what is your basis for this?
Mendez had a letter in his safe, seemingly from himself. It already doesn't make any sense, but it gets worse. Everywhere else we've seen this signature show up, it wouldn't make sense for him to author it. Threatening Meredith, setting up Togamera, why would he do that to people who had helped him?
Maybe they upset him?
Perhaps, but as it stands, we don't know anything. And that means there's no reason for me to think it. Maya has gotten several notes of her own, which threaten her and Pearl. The big connection Meredith, Togamera, Pearl, and Mendez all have is through MN6. Mendez was already found not guilty, so he shouldn't try to silence them. But somebody else has been attacking and setting up Mendez's allies. They're posing as him and using his name to send false messages and orders.
Is that why we've only seen him send messages through notes on the internet?
I'd say it is. This person is posing as the defendant and sabotaging his command of the family.
It makes sense. But why would they do it? Was it a past victim holding a grudge?
I don't think so. It all ties back to MN6 in the end. With 2 people killed for the bottle, somebody has a secret to hide. And they plan to frame my client for it all.
Objection.
Very nicely thought out. But up until now, it was all just conjecture. If there was anything to hide about MN6, it would be over the identity of the killer. But as you said, why would it matter to him? No matter how you look at it, the only one with anything to hide is him.
But what?
We know MN6 is the crux to it all. but as we've discussed. Yet that just makes him look all the more guilty. Only he would need to enact a cover-up, and that lends to my henchman theory. In that case, the suspect is plainly the killer.
Well said, Mr. Williamson. Does the defense have a rebuttal?
You've done a good job, Wright. Better than I expected. But we've run out of possible excuses and keep returning to the same conclusion. Francisco Mendez is the mastermind behind everything. There is no point in denying it.
I know MN6 is the center of the whole story. But if it is, then Mendez must truly be the killer. But it leaves so many more questions. That can't be it. Is there any other explanation for what happened? I have to come up with it. I need to think hard about this. It might be my last chance. If I'm going to figure this out, I need to think about what made MN6 special. It wasn't the murder itself. That was pretty run-of-the-mill. What made it noteworthy is how the Rivales family wanted to influence the outcome. They had their hands dirty the whole way through, no doubt. But what part really stands out for their manipulation? Now I remember it. People went to great lengths to cover up MN6, even after the not guilty. Mendez was home free, so that means there was something else that hadn't been revealed. Somebody on the inside told Trucy that. Yeah, we learned that from Drazian. No, that's not it. I'm not on the right track. I need to stop and think and make sure my thoughts are in order. The answer has to be in here somewhere. Crap. Well, might as well just go through all the portraits then. Nope, not Obadiah. And... nope, not Parker. And that leaves Togamera. Togamera told us. He admitted he was in on it from the beginning. It fits with everything Williamson mentioned. So despite what Togamera did, I think I can believe this from him. Trucy learned some other things too. There was one other thing strange about MN6, another result of the Rivales family. That's right, they didn't have an autopsy report for the trial. In fact, they didn't get one until a long time after the case. They made sure nobody got a close look until after it would have made a difference. That is, until Dr. Drazian examined the body several months later. Why would they bother? What sense does that make? They still needed to hide something. To hide some fact. But about what? What's the big secret about? The bottle? No. The police had custody of the bottle, but nobody tried to touch that. At least not until Jimmy and Porter found it and took out. Besides, while the bottle was part of the case, the autopsy affected something else much more. Mr. Mendez? No. That's what Williamson thought at first, but he was wrong. If it was to protect Mendez, it shouldn't have mattered once the trial was over. The Rivales family wanted to avoid an autopsy for a long time. The big reason to stall an autopsy is if there's something off about the corpse. Something you don't want people to know. But what would that be? Williamson thought it was to help Mendez. But was that really it? No, it wouldn't be to protect him. Not after the verdict. But it was to protect somebody. Somebody still had a secret they didn't want told. Carlo Luciano never died. There was no murder. They prevented the autopsy to hide the fact that they'd switched the bodies. And that means He's still out there somewhere. There was no murder.
What was that? Did you just say what I think you just said?
You heard right. Luciano is still alive, and if he faked his death,
He would be the mastermind and the killer. Mr. Jameson tried to tell me the same thing in the lobby for Ms. Iris's trial, but I told him he was mistaken. He had it figured out, and he wanted to tell me. It just seems so ludicrous.
this is the secret he died trying to expose. Menderes didn't murder him at all. He never followed his uncle's orders to kill him.
How can that be? He was dead at the scene.
The family made sure the investigation didn't proceed as planned, especially in regards to the body. They never got an autopsy.
It's true. That always confused me. But there was a dead body. We found someone.
It was another man's corpse that they swapped, a look-alike. Luciano played dead for Mr. Kashari. Then, when Togomera came, they brought in the real victim. Salim Kashari swore he never saw blood around Luciano, and that's because he didn't take the poison. Then, they continued to block the autopsy to prevent the truth from coming out. Menderes and Togomera helped Luciano cover up that he was still alive.
Menderes! Is this true?
If it is, then you know why I can't say yes.
Luciano already has it in for you. Who do you think set you up? Williamson did his own part, but the original reason you're here is because Jimmy got killed. He's the one who's been toying with your allies, making them turn against you. We've arrested 3 people who worked for you, and they all directly named you. You knew you were being framed, and you knew who it was too. Now I'm naming the guy responsible. Am I right, or aren't I?
Spot on. It is?
So he is still alive? If he is, he must be a top suspect. He fits the bill to a T.
Where is Luciano, Menderes? Where is he now?
Do you have any idea what will happen to me if I tell you?
I can only imagine. However, I do know what will happen if you don't. This court will find you guilty and you'll be executed for 3 murders you didn't commit. Sounds ironic, doesn't it?
And what if you don't get him? What if I tell you and you screw up somehow?
Have a bit of faith in me. I've gotten you this far.
He's the doctor.
The doctor?
Dresian?
He autopsied himself. There, don't make me have to say it again. It was another man in the body bag. Somebody he got. Dr. Dresian? This whole time he's been...
Stop! This is all insane! Dr. Dresian has been working with us the whole time!
I didn't kill your friend, Williamson. I'm not the one you want.
If you don't trust him, trust Jimmy. He tried to tell you, and you brushed him off. You owe it to him to make up for it now.
Fine. Bring in the coroner.
You're doing the right thing, prosecutor. You don't need to feel bad about it.
Don't lecture me. Just find Dresian.
Right away, sir. Doctor, are you aware of why you have been brought here? My, I must say I haven't the faintest, sir. Was there an error with one of my reports? Not quite. Mr. Wright, I will leave the witness to you.
Doctor, we believe that Carlo Luciano may be responsible for these killings. Do you have any idea how that might be possible?
My, what a strange thought. Don't you think that's a bit outlandish? A cadaver could hardly have murdered anyone.
Exactly. Luciano is not dead.
Aha! So that's why you've brought me forth, is it? You think I made some mistake with the corpse, and so you wish for me to confirm.
in a manner of speaking.
Well, surely there couldn't be more. Unless you think I am the killer. Nevertheless, realize, sir, that this would be even more baseless than before. An absolutely baseless claim would never come from you, I am sure.
Not quite as baseless as you might think.
Fear is not always the best way to keep others from telling a secret. You've been exposed. There's nowhere to run.
Was it the suspect?
Are you admitting it?
Aha! So it was. I see. No, I am admitting nothing, for that would be ridiculous. It just seems to be a bit silly to believe anything coming from his mouth. Do you not believe that he would support any lie if it proved him innocent? Unless, perhaps, you have some actual proof indicating I have some secret identity. Aha! No, I thought not. Well, if I must, I will do my best to clear this filthy accusation. What's this? You think Carlo Luciano is still alive? Well, that's simply unthinkable. I wrote the autopsy myself. Yes, I was delayed in performing it, but the specimen remained in police custody the whole time. And to say that I might be Luciano, simply mind-boggling. Preposterous. Yes, Luciano was dead. Quite dead. And still is too, if I'm not mistaken.
You didn't actually say anything to prove your point.
I do not have to, sir. It is you with whom the burden of proof lies. Am I not right, Mr. Prosecutor? It would be the accuser's responsibility.
You've given your denial, and from the lack of direct evidence, we can't push you.
You didn't give me anything to argue against. The testimony is too vague.
All he had to do was deny the accusation. It's what we have. The idea of him being Luciano was suspect to begin with.
And not a hint of proof beyond the word of a madman on his last lifeline. I've said my part, and I leave the rest up to you.
Really think that he's the assassin?
I'm not sure. How can I even say?
Don't give up. You might not have anything to go off of, but I might still be able to help. Let me take the reins for a while again, and I'll see if he slips up anywhere.
Not my choice right now. You did good before. Show me what you've got.
Don't let you down.
I am actually going to cut it here.